The 100th episode of Baseball Money is Fake on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by our Patreon. Score exclusive perks, content, and contests, including our NFL win totals contest with a $1,000 prize. Join today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon.
Welcome to the 100th episode of Baseball Money is Fake. 100 episodes. Not even done and gone because we're still recording this one, but mama, we made it. As always, it is Blake Meyer in the building. As always, with my man, Ryan Gilbert. How you doing today, Ryan?
I'm doing good. 100, and it feels so good. Cheers to that, Blake. It's been a long ride and going to be in an even longer ride as we go for our next 100 and next 900. I'm excited for our 1,000th episode special where we're talking about all these good Reds prospects. They're just going to keep calling them up. But yeah, I'm doing good. MLB trade deadline is now officially in less than 24 hours. Got a few, not big trades today, but a few trades today. We can discuss that if we want. But yeah, I'm doing good.
Yeah, dude, I'm down to talk everything today. Me and Ryan came into this episode. I mean, obviously we're in the middle of the season, so we got to talk some baseball, but this is also kind of just like a celebratory episode a little bit. Have some fun, shoot the shit about baseball. That stuff, because we started this at the beginning of last September, and it was called the SGPN Fantasy Baseball Podcast. We kind of just threw the name on it because we weren't sure what we wanted to name it, but we knew we wanted to get going. So we started it with that, and we started with, man, those early episodes had like 3 listeners every episode.
Now we've doubled all the way to 6.
Yeah,
we've come a long way in 100.
Now we are killing it. But I mean, we've come a long way. We've had some cool guests on here. Gary Sheffield Jr., Mike Curlin from The Athletic, Nick Pollock from Pitcher List a couple times, Steven Sidger Jr., former major league player, Joe Fan, Eric Cross from Rotoballer now, like just some big names in the fantasy baseball world. We've been lucky enough to be on other people's podcasts as well, like going on The Sleeper and the Bust with Justin Mason was probably one of my favorite memories that we've had so far in doing this. We've got to meet some really cool people along the way. And I mean, having a platform to talk baseball is amazing. Like, I've written baseball for 10 years now, but being able to just talk baseball is such a cool feeling. And I'm glad you've been on this ride with me, Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely. And we actually have a breaking trade right now. Not too big, but one of the bigger bats on the market. Jeimer Candelario. Any guesses where he went? He was rumored to this team earlier, I saw.
It's got to be Miami then.
Oh no, it's the
it's
Chicago
not?
Cubs. Chicago Cubs traded for Candelario. No return as of yet, but Ken Rosenthal has reported that. That's going to be an increase for his value, I would imagine. He's been pretty good so far this season for the Nationals. Going to a red hot Cubs team, it's going to be good there. So yeah, some breaking news for us.
Yeah, he's been a really fun one to write about this year. I've written about it a couple times in Waiver Wire articles. I know on ESPN he's still available in a lot of leagues. On Yahoo, I think he's over the 50% threshold. So I kind of stopped writing about him.
48 right now.
Yeah. So he's been like a very under the radar producer, like solid amount of runs. Okay, RBI producer. I think he was hitting 280 last I checked.
16 home runs too.
So like there's some upside there. I like him. Yeah, some pop, which we like to see. It's going to be interesting to see how he does in Chicago. They have a really good lineup, much better lineup than they have in Washington. So, I mean, if he can keep hitting well with runners on base, he could continue that production and even up it a decent amount as well.
Yeah, just looking at their recent lineups, Nick Madrigal is their third baseman hitting 9th in their past 3 lineups there. So I imagine Candelario will go there, maybe move up to I mean, they have Christopher Morel hitting 7. He's been insane this year too. That whole lineup has just been sneaky, very sneaky good. Nico Horner, Suzuki, Happ, Bellinger, Swanson, Young Gomes, Christopher Morel, Trey Mancini, even. So yeah, it's going to be a good change of scenery, I think, for Candelario.
I think so as well. And speaking of a change of scenery, it happened right before we got on the podcast, and it was like a whirlwind of all these things happening at the same time as me. My sweet Paul Sewald.
We have a breaking news AJ Pollock trade. AJ Pollock and tilt fan Mark Mathias from the Seattle Mariners. 2, he's going to be joining your old friend Mitch Haniger in San Francisco. That's Jeff Bassett tweeting that one out right
now. So we got rid of AJ Pollock.
You got rid of AJ Pollock. He's been pretty bad, right?
Thank God, it did. Oh, so bad, so bad. Does it say who we got in return? I missed that.
Nothing yet. No, nothing yet.
Or just say he's gone. That's all the news we needed.
He's gone. Yeah. AJ Pollock is
do
like
Colton Wong next, please.
The right-handed Andrew Benintendi. That'd be the ultimate platoon.
Yeah, and I mean AJ Pollock was supposed to come in platoon for Kelnick against lefties, and then Kelnick figured out how to hit lefties, so they let AJ Pollock DH, and he was so bad. Like it was. I mean, I think he had 2 games where he hit 2 home runs in the games, which was like, damn, that's pretty cool. He could do that. But then and the rest of it was like an auto out every time he was at the bat. He played terrible defense when they put him out there. He was just a black hole all around. And AJ Pollock, you're better at baseball than I ever will be in my entire life. You've had a very good year. I'm sure you're a great dude. I haven't got the chance to meet you, but you didn't work well in Seattle. So I'm not sad to see him go. But I am sad to see Paul Sewald go. It's bittersweet. Paulie needed a new place kind of to contend more for a title because the Mariners, as much as I hate to say it, we're not going to win the World Series this year or next year probably.
Or next year.
See what's the chance
out next year already?
Yeah, with as little as we spend, yeah.
Kirby, Gilbert.
But in return, we got Josh Rojas. Oh, you know what? Yeah. If Ohtani comes here, that's a wrap. We're getting Josh Rojas.
I guess let's just continue the. I mean, we could talk about you got Josh Rojas, but as Insana also pointed out in the chat, Brewers got Mark Canha from the Mets for pitching prospect Justin Jarvis. I don't think this really does much to his value. Maybe it raises it because it's a better team. Shockingly, the Brewers and the Mets, and he might play more often. But I don't think Canha has too much fantasy relevance outside of 15 teams or like NL only leagues.
Yeah, I don't think so either. He has decent StatCast numbers, and I know Milwaukee is like a pretty beneficial home run park by like ballpark factor. They're decently above average, but I don't think it's much of an upgrade for him over the Mets. The Brewers do have a good young lineup though, but I can't imagine him hitting in the heart of that lineup. So yeah, it doesn't do a whole lot for me moving the needle wise for his fantasy value moving forward.
Yeah, and hope maybe we'll get some baseball, some fantasy baseball impacts of this trade deadline. We're talking here this episode, obviously. We're going to be live tomorrow, possibly right this time again, right around the trade deadline ending at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So come around for that. Get in the chat. We love you guys in the chat there. Always shouting you out. So come in live, get the questions. Make sure you subscribe to Baseball Money is Fake, our Substack, fakebaseball.substack.com. We are on Twitter at Fake Baseball. We are on YouTube. We are on Instagram. We're on TikTok. So Facebook, we're all over. Not quite on Threads or Blue Sky yet, but maybe soon based on how things are going. Okay, make sure you follow us over there and make sure you follow us, subscribe to all that good stuff for the podcast on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And we're also brought to you by the Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon. Sports Gambling Podcast Patreon is perfect for the diehard DGen. You can sign up for the Patreon to get access to exclusive contests, including the NFL Win Total contest with a $1,000 first place prize, plus a monthly SGP Stories podcast, an ad-free, uncensored show highlighting the best stories from decades of being DGens. There's even a Discord channel just for patrons. The Sports Gambling Podcast has and always will give out all their picks for free. Patreon is a great way to support the network and fight back against corporate gambling. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/Patreon.
Dude, I'm so excited we got AJ Pollock. Like, I keep looking for an update, like while you're doing the ad read, to see if I can see who we got back in return. Still doesn't look like there's an update yet, but I mean, God, the likelihood is this probably not even for a player. It's probably like for money or something. Just to
You'll get like a prospect or something. I would
like
imagine.
a 40th prospect or something. But like I'm cool with it though. But I mean, I still can't believe we're at 100 episodes. I said it a lot when we first started this. I was never a podcast guy. I was never a talk on camera guy. I was never a talk like not being able to see me guy, just talking on the internet guy. That was never my thing. I've always been a writer and I've loved it. And so jumping into this podcast thing was a big let's see what happens moment for me. And I mean, I keep shouting you out, Ryan, but shout out Ryan for giving me the push to get this started, helping me get this damn thing started, and just being along for the ride. Because if you hadn't pushed me to do this, I don't think we would have done it. Because this was a long time.
It was a few months there. I was like, isn't there like a fantasy baseball podcast coming along? Like who's hosting it? Like what's going on with it? And then we were just like, let's just do it. Let's just do it. And here we are, 100 episodes later. It's been a fantastic time. It should only continue to grow here. But yeah, you mentioned the Paul Civale trade. He's probably going to be the new closer there for the Diamondbacks, I would imagine. It's probably going to be Munoz or Brash for the Mariners. We're going to have to wait and see there. Also did have another trade involving a closer. Jordan Hicks was traded from the Cardinals to the Blue Jays after Romano went on the IL. I think Hicks is going to be a good pickup for the short term, but I imagine Romano will be back before, probably not much longer than the 10 days on the IL. So don't necessarily go out and trade for Hicks, but if he's available, going for a few weeks, go ahead. And on the Cardinal side of that, I guess Gallegos and Jojo Romero until Helsley can return is what I'm reading here, but you could see Gallegos being traded as well. So the Cardinals maybe just aren't worth getting at all. And then one more, the White Sox traded away Kendall Graveman, who was closing for them. I believe Santos is going to be the closer for the White Sox from here on out. I think he got either back-to-back saves or something like that. Let me see if I can pull up his game log real quick here. Yeah, Gregory Santos. He got the save against Cleveland on the 28th. So yeah, I think he's going to be the guy.
Yeah, good closer update. I think he's going to be the guy too. And I mean, I just want to go back to the Mariners one real quick because that's kind of my bread and butter right now. I obviously Munoz is probably right out of the gate the guy that a lot of people are going to key in on for saves. Even Scott Service is probably going to key in on Munoz. But I have my hesitation for the rest of the year of Munoz being the guy. He had the spotlight put on him in the playoffs last year, rightfully so. I mean, who in the world knew that Seattle, a team that nobody ever watches, had a dude that throws 103 miles an hour and a slider that breaks all the way to Portland.
He's got that fastball slider you love.
He does have the fastball slider I love, and he's the guy that uses the slider a lot more than his fastball too. Like he has a 103 mile an hour fastball that he throws 27% of the time, and he has a slider that has a 183 expected batting average. The only problem is he tends to be hittable more often than you would think somebody with crazy pitches is. And he gets in his head very quickly. He has a very limited amount of pitches that he can throw in a game before he starts to get tired. And when he gets tired, the control goes, and then he gets very hittable, which obviously can be said for a lot of pitchers. But if it starts to get like kind of a long inning that he's out there, you're fucked. And Brash, for as lopsided as his ERA looks, he has not only been the most unlucky pitcher in baseball. His BABIP is literally the worst BABIP of any qualified relief pitcher in baseball. It's like 190 or something like that, 193. When you look at his strikeout rate is second in baseball. His whip is second in baseball for relievers.
Because I'm looking at his baseball savant page, like his K rate is 46 percentile. Like, how is it 46 percentile when he has 76 strikeouts and 43 and a third? Like, how is that not one of the best in the league.
Yeah, his K minus walk rate is second best. His strikeouts per 9 is like 16 point something. He's literally second best in all of these to Felix Bautista, who is having a reliever in MLB history. He's striking at like over 50% of the batters that he faces, which I don't think has been done ever or not in a very long time. Brash is second to that. So I think Brash gets more save opportunities for the rest of the season than Andres Munoz does. Munoz thrives in a setup role. Brash is kind of just happy to be here and strike people out. And I like a guy closing out games that's just fucking happy to be here and down to just throw strikes. And he has the nastiest breaking ball in baseball. And I'm not even saying that like there's no bias in that statement. Like it's literally the nastiest breaking ball. He just struck somebody out the other way where the ball literally broke through the player's legs, like bounced before the plate and broke through the player's legs. Everybody saw what he did to Jose Ramirez when he struck him out and made him fall on his face on home plate. So target Matt Brash. I understand why Andres Munoz is going to be the popular name, but target Matt Brash because there's very, very sneaky value there, and he has such a low roster rate right now.
Mm-hmm. Brash is likely the pickup in deeper leagues or leagues where Munoz is probably gone, which he probably is. I think he's rostered in upwards of 60% of leagues. Wasn't Civale like hurt at some point in the year too? So Munoz was getting saved anyway or something. Year, yeah. So yeah, I mean Munoz has good numbers. People are going to see his ERA and stuff and pick him up and remember the big stuff from the playoffs and whatnot. But yeah, if you look at Brash, he's allowed 17 earned runs this season. 10 of them came in his first 20 outings, 16 and 2/3 on May 10th. So after May 10th, May 13th to July 30th, he has made 31 appearances, 26 and 2/3, 7 earned runs, 43 strikeouts for a 2.36 ERA, 10 holds, 2-0. So if you're in a hold league or a hold save league, I think Brash's value definitely goes up because he's going to keep getting those holds anyway and might get those saves. And yeah, in deeper leagues where closers are picked up as soon as a trade is made, like I'm assuming if you're listening to this not live, Munoz is going to be gone in your league. So I think Kirby is a great call out by you there for deeper leagues to keep an eye on.
Another trade. I mean, we're not doing a full trade show. Like we're going to cover some other things as well, but there's like one really interesting trade from today that I wanted to just ask you about. So the Guardians traded Aaron Civale to Tampa Bay for Kyle Manzardo, which blows my mind because Kyle Manzardo is like the number 37 prospect in baseball. Big time first baseman, a lot of power. Aaron Civale has been on a good run, but the interesting thing about Civale in his last 2 starts, his velocity as a whole has been laughably down. I think 2 starts ago, his average fastball was down like 4 miles an hour for the game or something like that. Like everything is down. I get that he's being effective. He has a disgusting curveball, which I think, Saris is the person that does the Stuff Plus metrics. And I think Civale has the number 1 curveball based on Stuff Plus in baseball, which is cool. But he's not an overpowering pitcher. He's not an innings eater. He's not really anything. In your mind, how does Aaron Civale equal a top prospect like Kyle Manzardo?
I actually love this trade for the Rays. This is a very Tampa Bay Rays trade. Civale is 28 years old. He has 2 more ARB years before becoming a UFA in 2026. So they have him through his prime. I mean, giving up a top prospect for him might not be great, but like the Rays have had their injuries to their pitchers there. So Civale 5-2, 2.34 ERA this season. His doesn't get hit hard. His hard hit percentage is 74th percentile. Barrel rate given up is 87th percentile. He doesn't walk many guys. Doesn't get many strikeouts, but that's what the Rays do. The Rays find pitchers that can throw strikes to get outs, and that's what they do. And he has a 3.77 career ERA, kind of been up and down a bit for the Guardians every other year. His ERA has been below 3, over 4, below 4, nearly 5, and now under 3. So he has what it takes. It's just finding that consistency. And Tampa Bay has something where they're just like, okay, go do your thing, and he'll go out and be one of the best pitchers the rest of the way. I think if he's available, I'm not sure if he's widely available given his numbers, but I think you should possibly go pick him up.
Yeah, I'm
71%
seeing.
rostered, so he's not going to be available very, very often.
Yeah, he's not really available, but one thing, his next starts, if I could get my phone to work here, his next starts, he is lined up to go. Where did it just go? There we go. His next projected starts for Aaron Civale in Tampa Bay. I just said his name different for like the third time. He's at Detroit versus Cleveland, at San Francisco versus Colorado, and at Miami. That's a pretty beneficial, like that's in his favor for trades. Jesus Christ. That's in his favor for starts. I can't talk.
I'm not sure when he's scheduled to pitch, but they could pitch him Friday at Detroit, and then he'll miss Cleveland, who probably knows how to hit him, and he'll pitch against the Cardinals on Thursday, which is an even easier matchup, I think, especially if they somehow trade Arenado or Goldschmidt. But I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, I mean, the Rays get the best out of their pitchers, and Civale is going to, I think, continue to kill it down there.
And then on the other end of that, Kyle Manzardo, we mentioned he's the number 37 prospect in baseball. First base guy. He's not going to play anywhere else because he's not great defensively, but he plays an okay first base. Big time power bat. In the minor leagues, I shouldn't say big time, but he had 11 home runs in 73 games this year. I would like to preface this by saying, from a lot of what I've seen online today after the Manzardo trade, guys like Chris Clegg and our buddy Beck, we're talking about how you have to kind of look at Manzardo's numbers for this year and not dive too deep into them, because we talk a lot on this podcast about the mentals and how that can kind of really affect a player. I guess he has a lot of things going on outside of baseball. Not to speak on somebody else's family issues, but apparently his mom is like going through heart failure or something like that. And so obviously things like that are big on your mental for a game. And so I feel bad even saying that out loud, because if it's not true, then I feel bad, but I don't think it's a lie. I think it's like true, because I saw a few people talk about it. But like, obviously if your mom is going through something like that and she's on the transplant list, your mind probably isn't fully on the game of baseball that you're playing. And so take his numbers this year in a nutshell. Last year in 30 games, he had 15 extra base hits and 26 RBIs at the AA level, 17 home runs in 63 games at the single A level, strikes out almost as much as he walks, which is pretty good, like double-digit walk rate at every level. So he's got a good feel for the plate. And I think he could play really well in Cleveland. I saw that they've opened up trade availability for Josh Bell now, and they plan for Kyle Manzardo to be the opening day starter in 2024. Who knows if that means he'll be up if they trade Josh Bell this year. He may still just stick in the minors for now, but there's value there next year for Manzardo. Cleveland is a decent place to hit in, and he's going to probably hit in the heart of that order, and they have guys that can get on base in front of him. So dynasty leagues, I think Kyle Manzardo's value just went up. And Civale, I do agree. I think Civale's value went up as well. Tampa Bay does wild things with pitchers and makes them really good. So they made Zach Eflin look like an ace, which if you could do that, Aaron Civale could be an ace.
Hey. Phillies legend. Yeah. Also, just looking at Manzardo's numbers, looking at his stats and career trajectory. Last year, he primarily played at Class A Advanced. He played 63 games there, had 17 home runs, hit 329. Went to AA, played 30 games, 5 home runs, hit 323. This year, he started AAA. He had no AAA action last year. I think that the jump from AA to AAA possibly is not talked about enough, because AAA is where like the quad A players are, where like the veterans that are trying to get it back, the top prospects that are waiting for their chance, like, and on top of whatever else is happening mentally. Like he moved up 2 classes this year. They're letting him play through it. and it's a guy that you're not going to lose your hit tool. You're not going to lose your power tool. So a change of scenery might just be what he needs. It might be what he needs, try to get back on track. And yeah, I think he could be someone to watch going into next season, or possibly a call up at next season, depending how he pans out the rest of the season. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. The NFL season is right around the corner, and Underdog Pick'em is a great way to get down on a ton of NFL player props. It's available in a ton of markets, plus plenty of opportunities to win in their daily MLB contest. And of course, make sure to enter Best Ball Mania 4, where first place gets $3 million. Head over to UnderdogFantasy.com and use promo code SGPN for 100% deposit bonus up to $100. That's UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. Mixed up here, a little on the injury front here. We had a surprising star player make his return today. I got the notification that he was being activated. I was able to activate him because I have so many injured guys on my team. Jazz Chisholm is back. I don't think he underwent a rehab assignment or anything. He was sidelined since July 12th with an oblique strain. Coming right back in, hitting cleanup tonight against the Phils. So what do you think about Jazz? He has not lived up to your expectations so far, but you think he can stay healthy at the very least the rest of the way?
I have a hard time believing he can stay healthy just because he hasn't really. I can't say that he hasn't lived up to my expectations.
Oh, he did have he did have a rehab assignment. He went 1 for 2 with a double walk and stolen base for a single
all-star.
Yeah.
See, my whole thing is I can't say he didn't live up to the hype only because it's because of injuries. So injuries have derailed his season. He hasn't necessarily been sucking. He played 45 games. He's got
that was the risk, though. The risk was the injuries.
That was the risk, and it was kind of a hey, if you get him, understand the risk, but if he doesn't get hurt, he can be pretty fucking good. And to be fair, when he's played, he's been pretty fucking good. Like 9 home runs in 45 games. That's not a bad season. That's the 30 plus home runs over the course of a season. So that's what you hope for. And he stole 14 bases, which is more than he stole in all of 2022 last year. Miami is in contention, weirdly enough, after I think we had one of our first episodes was titled "The Miami Marlins Are a Dumpster Fire." And now here we are, and the Miami Marlins, 100 episodes later, are actually in playoff contention.
Yeah.
And they seem to be buyers, not sellers. And so I think they're going to let Jazz just go full Jazz. Bring the excitement.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to swing for the fences. He's going to try and steal every single time he's on base. Can he stay healthy? It's going to be the question. I'm going to bank on no. But, I mean, while he's healthy, he's obviously worth a roster spot. He's very good. He has all the upside in the world, especially at a very weak second base. He still has second base eligibility, and second has not been that great this year. So he's very much worth the roster spot if he became available in your leagues. I know he became available in both of my home leagues, so I may have to add him just to see how it goes. But yeah, I'm excited to see how he does today. Hopefully he doesn't get hurt before you guys listen to this on the podcast feed.
Yeah, and I forgot the Marlins, another closer update. They traded for David Robertson, so I imagine he's going to get the save opportunities down there. And then for the Mets, left-hander Brooks Raley has got him there too. Most recent saves for 3 on the year. Adam Ottavino got the last 2 outs of the 8th ahead of him. So it could be a committee there. I mean, don't know if the Mets are going to win many games to warrant picking up either of those guys, but I would kind of wait it out.
I agree. It's Steven said getting on base to steal is a challenge for Jazz. Touche. He does only have like a 302 on base percentage. He's sitting like 248, but the kid doesn't walk at all. But I love the closer talk. Yeah, I don't think the Mets are going to win a ton of bases. I think the Mets might be in sell mode. I think there's going to be another move or two to get made by the Mets to sell somebody off.
Fam's going to go
tomorrow again. Fam for sure. I think Verlander's for sure going to go also. So yeah, even if you have Ottavino, there's not like I have him in TGFBI and I'm not excited. Like after Robertson got traded, like I didn't have a moment where I was like, "Ooh, more saves," because no, the Mets are not very good moving forward. And if you're not a good team, you don't save a lot of games. Just ask Trevor May in Oakland. You don't get very many save opportunities. But I did see that you just wrote a pitcher streaming article on sportsgamblingpodcast.com.
I did, yes.
Give me one name out of your article that you like for the rest of this week for as a 2-star pitcher.
You know who I'm going to give you? I'm going to go back to make sure I included him in the article. Your favorite, Ben Lively. I wrote in it, Ben Lively has quickly grown on me, especially as a streaming option. 4-6, 3.76 ERA. He is starting on Tuesday against the Cubs. The other two guys in my article are starting tonight, so this one is much more timely. Only 13% rostered. Tuesday at the Cubs, who are hot, but then Sunday against Washington, who's going to have, who knows what we're going to have left there. He's been very good recently, allowing 3 runs or fewer in each of his last 6 starts. So I think Ben Lively is a good deep league option. And check out the article for the other 2 options.
Yeah, you know I'm a big Lively fan. I've talked about him a ton. He has a disgusting slider, disgusting curveball. His fastball kind of sucks, which is a problem when you're a major leaguer. But he has awesome breaking stuff, and when he can get those going in his starts, he ends up being a very good streaming option. I've streamed him 5 times this year. 4 of them were successful. 1 of them was terrible. But that's what happens when you're streaming. We talk about that all the time too. Don't expect the world when you're streaming a pitcher. You got to understand that what you're really trying to key in on is just look for a quality start. Like try and find a guy that'll get you a quality start. And then if you get 8-9 strikeouts to go with that, cool. But 6 innings, 3 earned runs or less, that's what you look for. And Lively has the ability to do that. And he actually has a chance for wins as well, because Cincinnati's a pretty damn good team, and they're winning a good amount of games right now. So even if he does give up 4 or 5 runs, which would suck, he could still get you the win because he can eat some innings as well. So I like that pull.
Yeah, a few quick injury updates here. Starters, Nestor Cortez is making his 3rd rehab start on Wednesday. He'll likely be able to rejoin Yankee rotation after that on the 7th or 8th. Brendan Woodruff his next start is coming on Tuesday. He's already made 2 starts at High A Wisconsin. He's going up to AAA Nashville. So this could be his last rehab start as well for both of those guys. Nathan Eovaldi was placed on the IL, but he's only supposed to miss the 15 days till August 11th. I think that's all I got on the injury front. Jose Alvarado, Philly's potential closer, is doing some mound work. He could come back. Second week of August is looking like. Philly's closing situation. Phillies are just a mess right now. I watched some of their games over the weekend. It's just a complete mess. They're base running. Bryce Harper just running into outs. Just little league shit. It's garbage. But hopefully Alvarado can come back. Hopefully they can trade for someone like Duvall, or I'm hearing Tommy Pham could be a guy who I don't love. But yeah, I did want to before I was going to say, speaking of the Cardinals, our boy Lars Nootbaar in Lars We Trust are brought up last show. Since then, he had a 2 home run game on the 28th on Friday after his 1 home run on Wednesday. So yeah, Lars Nootbaar is heating up, and get on board if you're not already.
Man, and we love ourselves some Lars around here. I still want to get merch that says "In Lars We Trust" on it. Maybe since we're 100 episodes in, maybe we can give him to put that in the merch store for us. We haven't plugged the merch store in a while. We have merch, people. Sportsgamblingpodcast.com. There's a merch section.
SG.pm/store. Yeah,
there we go. You go to brands, and then I think baseball, or maybe just brands
baseball
under there.
We got it. Look at all these hoodies, shirts, these t-shirts, these hats. Whew.
We got everything, man.
Looking fresh like my boy Catfish.
Absolutely. And Steven, this might be my favorite comment of the day. Is Nestor Cortez taking longer because his mustache requires his own rehab stint? Honestly, I think so. Because you got a push broom like that, you don't take the normal amount of time. That thing takes some building up to get ready to go. So I think that might be what it is.
That mustache is always ready to go. It's always ready to fire five strong innings for you.
Yeah, Insano, DM me because DM me. Civale 2-run home run. Needed that. I think with Anthony last episode that we recorded live was talking about Civale was killing him. So Anthony, there you go, my man.
Civale was just dropped in my main league. I was looking to pick him up. He has not been hitting well recently, but I mean he's a guy that can just go off for 5 home runs in a weekend. Hopefully not this series against the Phillies though.
Hopefully not. And then I want to highlight before we go, because God, I feel like I say this a lot, but it's only because we do a lot of episodes, 100 to be exact. I do the weekly waiver wire article for Fantasy Pros, and it is Monday while we do this, so it is still early enough in the week. Mike Tauchman, I think that's how you say his name. I hate not knowing, but it's wild for the Cubs. He is my favorite waiver wire pickup for the week. He's owned in a very low amount of leagues, but it's not very often that you find a leadoff hitter for a good lineup readily available on the waiver wire. In 17 games in July, or since July 5th, he's hitting .312 with 9 extra base hits and 17 RBI. He has a couple multi-hit games in the last 15 days or so. He's not going to hit like a ton of home runs, so the power is limited, but he's a big doubles guy, and he's got enough speed to leg out a triple here and there. He hits really well with people on base, and he has very good base running ability, which helps when you're a leadoff hitter. So he gets on, and he tends to score a good chunk of runs. So he gets overlooked a lot just because he's not a big name, and the power's not there. This is the time of year when a lot of people kind of focus on who's going to hit me the most home runs for the rest of the year. So he can hit you 280, 285 for the rest of the year. Score about a run a game, most likely. And he's very consistently hitting leadoff. So I think he's somebody that you guys should be targeting moving forward. Outfield and DH eligibility. So
yeah, just
check him out.
on him. He is sitting here for the second straight game and the third game in 4 because he is platooned against lefties. Looks like the Cubs are going against Max Fried later this week on Fridays. He'll probably be platooned then, but Saturday, Sunday looks good. And then the rest, or Wednesday, they're going against Williamson, a lefty, as well against the Reds. So he should start, 4 or 5 games this week. I'm not sure how Candelaria or any other trade deadline stuff will affect his playing time, but yeah, he's hot right now. He's hitting, and I imagine they'll keep that hot bat in the lineup. And yeah, I just want to point out Josh Chisholm almost hit a home run, grand roll double. Thanks, chat. Appreciate that.
Hell yeah. One more guy that I like, former Mariners legend. I like to say that about anybody that played for Seattle for like a half a year. Carlos Santana got traded to Milwaukee. Again, we'll have an episode where we cover a lot of these guys that were traded, but he got traded to Milwaukee. And even though by StatCast metrics, Milwaukee is a harder place to hit overall than PNC Park, it is way more beneficial than PNC Park for home runs. Like PNC Park for home runs is like a 84, 100 being like league average. Milwaukee, I don't even like American Family Field, I think it's called. It's like at 108. So considerably more beneficial. And then he just homered, I think it was yesterday. He hit a home run. So he doesn't offer a ton in the batting average department, but if you're looking for dingers, a switch hitting first baseman that is going to hit you a chunk of home runs down the stretch. And again, widely available, first base DH eligible. He's somebody that you guys should target.
He's batting third too in that lineup. He's batting third,
which we love to see.
Yeah, I mean that average is not there, but the dingers, and I think you're a bit biased because the Mariners traded for him, and then he went on to hit 15 dingers in half a season.
It was fucking beautiful.
192 average, 693 OPS, but 15 home runs. So that's all you need.
Steven said, I'm hoping the Reds take that division. They're electric to watch. I agree because I have a decent bet on the Reds to win the division. And so seeing them in first place, it just automatically makes me a Reds fan. I can't help but cheer them on because I like money. And I also like watching fun baseball. And Ellie De La Cruz, Matt McClain, Christian Encarnacion Strand, all those guys are so fun. I'm curious to see where Jonathan India winds up because he's been a hot name at the trade deadline.
They're not trading him. He's hurt now. They're not trading him.
I think they still might because they have to get something for him, and they're about to run out of he's really good. So I'm okay if he stays there, but too many teams want him even with the injury.
They're not trading him.
I think he gets moved.
I don't think so.
They need pitching in the worst way more than they need Jonathan India at second base. Because if they're going to make a legitimate run to the playoffs this year, they need somebody to go with Abbott. Hunter Green's hurt. Nick Lodolo's hurt. They'll be back at some point, but I mean, even then,
Green should be back sometime.
They've been out
August,
for months
I
at this point. I think Lodolo's supposed to be back sometime in August also, but who knows how good they'll be, though, because they were hit and miss.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess for their entire career, they've been hit and miss, but then now they've missed like 2.5 months coming back. So we'll see how that goes. Andrew Abbott's been killing it. The dude's a strikeout machine, even though he throws like a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, which is odd. But we'd love to see it. He was an excellent waiver wire pickup for a lot of people at the beginning of the year. And could have Machado for India. That's true. Matthew in the chat. Good to see you, my man. You play in the coolest fantasy baseball league I have ever heard of. But yeah, I mean, that's all I think I have for you guys. I just want to take a chance in this 100th episode to ask you guys, please like and follow us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and subscribe on the YouTube. We do a lot of stuff to try and grow as a podcast. And as much as I hate, like, I'm not saying I'm begging for likes and follows and all that, but that is like the number one thing that helps a podcast grow is follows on podcast streams and subscribes on YouTube. Those go farther than anything else. So if you guys just take 2 seconds out of your day to hit that like, follow, subscribe button, whatever, helps a ton. We're still charting all over the world, which I love to say, and I could say it on our 100th episode. Literally all over the world, we're showing up on baseball podcast charts and just podcast charts in general, which is pretty fucking cool. So yeah, I appreciate you guys coming to check us out in the live for today's episode. I love all of you that are listening to it in the podcast feeds. We will have plenty more episodes to come. And follow us on Twitter as well, or X. I don't know what to call it.
It's Twitter until it dies.
At fake baseball, and we're on YouTube at Fake Baseball Money. Where else? We're on fucking TikTok,
Instagram. We'll get on Threads and Blue Sky eventually. I have a Blue Sky invite if you want to get on there. We'll say. And yeah, make sure you get on our Substack, fakebaseball.substack.com. Yes. We have been slacking on that, I will admit, but let us know what you want to see in the final few months of the season here. I'm going to try to do a daily or so deep league streaming. I feel like those went over well. If there's a position ranking or anything you want us to discuss on the Substack or on the show, just let us know. We should probably be live tomorrow again around this time to discuss trade deadline stuff. So yeah, make sure you follow, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, as Blake was saying, those 5-star rating and reviews and subscriptions and likes and everything go a long way. They go longer than you think. So we do appreciate those. Yeah.
And you guys can follow me on Twitter, X, whatever the hell you want to call it, at Buhlockaye, BUHHLOCKAYE.
And you can follow me on Twitter at RGilbertSOP.
And we will catch you guys tomorrow.
See ya.